My small story is CONTRA Magazine. ThinkContra.com. That's what we do.
Oh, what's it all about?
It's a fashion, art, design, lifestyle magazine based out of Toronto. But we're universal, global, New York, LA, London.
And for those who don't know, tell us about the personality of Toronto. I mean, just, you know.
Personality is this. We live the EHLife.
What's that about?
It's all about being Canadian, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, versus New York where it's a melting pot. You know, we keep our identity. And that's what they, that's what Canada kind of breeds, right? Where it's like you hold on to your identity, but you're still Canadian. Versus here, you come and you forget your, or the whole idea is you remove yourself from what your identity is and become American.
So it's like you integrate versus assimilate?
That's right.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Let you go ahead.
Yeah, sorry.
It's probably Canada blowing you up, still celebrating Canada Day.
Hello. Yo. Yeah.
So what led up to the magazine? What were you doing before that?
Well, like 10 years trying to publish. Got to a point where online is the place to be. Did it for 10 years. Failed projects. Failed a bunch of projects. Tried to do a couple print projects. That didn't work out. And it was just timing. So after years of making mistakes, you figure out how to do it, right?
What's the best thing about making mistakes and failing?
Well, it's getting back up. I mean, at the end of the day, if you love something, you're going to keep doing it, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how many times you fall down, you got to get up at some point. And I think the story is sweeter when there's I always like the seed, kind of planting the seed story, the Jack and the Beanstalk story, you know?
Yeah.
You take something that's not supposed to be there, you put it, you water it, you know, it might grow, it might take some time, but at some point it gets there if you put enough love into it. Right?
What keeps you going? I mean, like,
well, the whole idea of trying to do something in my life, and, you know, rather than just getting a job. I mean, I'm boat people, right? So my whole story came from Vietnam, came to Canada. So, you know, instead of falling into a job, and I always said to myself, I got to do something that makes a difference in my own head.
Yeah.
Rather than just, you know, having a pension or whatever.
How that boat experience? How can I talk about that influence in terms of your character? How does it influence your character? Entrepreneurial.
Biggest thing it does is it grounds you a little bit, realizing where you come from, you know, how you got here, and then trying to turn it into something, right?
Yeah, I hear you, bro.
So that's
last question I asked you is publishing. Everybody's talking about it's hard with advertising and
the whole publishing game has changed completely. Print magazines are not print magazines anymore. Only the big publications can still exist because they already have the client base.
Yep.
From a perspective of being online, it's a whole new spectrum for people. There's less barriers to get involved with it. But the thing is, you got to pay more dues when you go online, in the sense of trying to prove to people that I'm not just this random dude. You got to show consistency. At the end of the day, if you do it long enough, they believe it. Right?
Any advice? Get anybody looking to get into publishing or just be an entrepreneur?
Listen, if you love what you do, that's the most important thing at the end of the day.
No doubt. How do they find you? Your website or email?
ThinkContra.com. Think Contra.
And where's the name come from? The name?
One random night, I was smoking a lot of weed, working on some client stuff. I always had it in my head that I was going to do it again. And I was flipping through, and then the video game, Contra.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm a 80s kid.
Okay.
75 keeps it alive. But and that was it. Basically, I was like, I had a light bulb moment. I'm like, Contra. I did a little search. There was a magazine, I think, somewhere years ago that called themselves that, but they weren't around anymore. Yeah. So I just took it and ran with it. Yeah. And that was it, man. That was wicked. So, you know, it was the Kush.
What's been the response?
It's been
great. I know the Kush loves you, but what's been the response?
It's been great, actually. Best thing about it is that we're from Toronto. However, there's a lot of people who sort of outside of Toronto, New York, LA are big markets, and then we have the UK, all over Europe. So it's Canadian, but it's also very global. So when somebody from New York looks at it, they're like, dope, I can relate to it. Yeah. It's not a total trying to be totally Canadian, but we come from a Canadian perspective.
Do you think you're brought in the image or of Canada?
I think so.
You know what I mean? I'm from Detroit, so you know what I mean?
I mean, I think so. You know, I think that, you know, we're trying to do something good for Toronto without overselling the fact that it's from Toronto.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, and it's worked so far. Awesome. Creative director, Glenn.
Oh, you are?
F. Swizzy.
So, what's up, dude?
What's going on?
What's your story?
My story, my small story is
That's pretty smooth. I mean,
yeah, you know
usually that's the shortest one. So if you start off doing what were you doing before that?
I was a graphic designer.
Okay.
Before that, yeah, and still am. So we help put the magazine. Me and Trunk put the magazine front to back together. So
how's it make you feel?
it's accomplished, you know.
Did you feel like you would rather be working for someone or working for yourself?
Working for ourselves. We do our own thing, you know.
Well,
Contra.
yeah. Do you guys think you're inspiring your other friends to, you know what I mean, to try to be entrepreneurs? Or?
I hope so. I mean, at the end of the day,
I mean, it's not your goal, but you know what I mean.
You know what? I think more than anything, they see the passion, the love.
Yeah.
They see the fact that, you know, one of the biggest comments I get from people is they're like, "You still doing this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I still do it."
I love that.
It is what it is, right? Like you can't give up on whatever you want.
You bleeding it.
Right. And then you know you connect. It's about the EHLife.
Yeah. I love that.
You know, and then you meet, you know, interesting people who have the same kind of beliefs, ideas, same vision, and you know, creatively, it takes you to a point where you know you feel like you have something to offer, right?
That's wicked.
I mean, at the end of the day, if you have a voice, it should be heard. You know, not everybody's gonna like everything you do, but if you believe and like what you do, then at some point somebody will be like, "That's cool."
I hear you on that, bro.
That's it.